Hi, it's Penny Zinker, your productivity expert. Today I want to talk about implementation. Very often we have a goal and we decide what it is that we want, and we might even go so far as to write down the milestones and, have a clear plan. But then the success comes down to the implementation of the plan. And what I often find is that people aren't really clear what influences implementation. And I've spent a number of years studying this and working with people to help to shift them in the areas that influence their implementation. Because you can have the greatest strategy and the greatest goal, but it's going to be sabotaged, right, when you don't have the right mindset, and also if you're not putting things into place that make it sustainable. So I came up with kind of 3 areas of our championship mindset, and then our strategies, our winning strategies, and then lastly, sustainable results. And those 3 areas have actually 10 drivers that are associated with them in total. 4 for our mindset, 3 around our strategies, and 3 around our sustainable results. And if we're not looking at where we are in the big picture, taking a step back to see all the factors that influence our implementation, then we might find that we're limiting ourselves in some way. That's what I found, and I work with people, and it's really quick to evaluate yourself where you are in those 10 drivers of your productivity and of your implementation, so that you can track them and then you can close the gap and see, okay, this is where I am now. Here's where I need to focus in order to more successfully and quickly and more effectively get this implementation to the finish line. And then when they see, okay, here's where I need to put my attention first, then they're able to close that gap, and it affects a number of other of those areas. But without seeing that, you might not be seeing the things that are holding you back. They're like those invisible, invisible hands that are holding you back because you are not being conscious of all the factors that influence your implementation. So those factors, I'm just going to go over them quickly. And I do have a really great productivity accelerator assessment that helps you to assess yourself, identify where the obstacles are in each of those 10 areas, and then to create an action plan so that you can clearly see what you're doing to close the gap. So those areas are in our mindset. We're talking about our motivation and our purpose. We're talking about our language and our self-talk, which is a big one that holds people back. Number 3 is the focus. And number 4 is our physiology and our self-care, right? So those are the aspects that go into our mindset, and any one of those can shift our mindset. Then if we look into this winning strategy area, we're looking at our planning, we're looking at our processes, right? How we standardize something. And then we're also looking at our priorities, how we're aligning our goals and our priorities are being created from that. And then, of course, then we can create the right actions when we're clear what our priorities are. And then lastly, how do we make it sustainable? Well, we have to recognize our progress. So that's the one area is progress, understanding what works and what doesn't work. Number 2 in that area is measurement. You can't manage what you don't measure. You have to measure and track so that you have accurate understanding of where you are and how to close that gap. And then lastly, you have proactivity. How do you stay one step ahead of the curve? And so at the end of the day, it's those 10 drivers of our productivity that make us successful in our implementation, meaning more efficient and effective. So if you'd like to take that assessment, there'll be a link here that you can take that, or you can just reflect on those and take some notes and identify where you are in each of those 10 areas and which one is going to be the one thing, the one area that if you do that you're going to close the gap in all the other areas faster. So that's what we're looking at today, is how you can maximize your implementation, be more efficient and effective in achieving your goals and getting there faster. And so that's through considering all the factors that impact your implementation. So let me know what you discovered, what kind of aha came out of that for you, and where it is that you're going to focus on next. I'll see you in the next episode.